Hi, my name is Julia Bennani, and I'm from Team 18, the Airbuds. Every time I saw celebrities posting on social media about climate change, I would always wonder the effect it had on the public. So today I'm going to be discussing with you about celebrities and how what they say has an effect or whether it doesn't have an effect on the public narrative. So this is my team research question where we are looking into how celebrity opinions affected the public narrative on climate change, which relates pretty well to the research article that I found. Here's a citation for it. Where it addresses the question of how do celebrities' green messages on Twitter actually influence public attitudes and their behavioral intentions that in turn mitigate climate change and cause action. This study discusses two theories, the first being the theory of framing, which discusses emotional framing and the framing of celebrity involvement in the rhetoric of their tweets, as well as a little bit of social cognitive theory. So there were actually 7 hypotheses tested in this study. However, we will only be discussing one today as it is most relevant to my research question. This theory, or this hypothesis that was tested was that in celebrities' climate advocacy via Twitter, both hope and fear in celebrity opinions will result in positive attitudes towards climate change mitigation than the messages that were unrelated to climate change. And now I'm going to talk about the research method. The study was a quantitative study because they used a survey to get their data. Overall, there were 693 participants, and they used a convenient sample of college students that were 18 and older. As for the procedures, they were each given a random questionnaire on SurveyMonkey that consisted of doctored tweets from celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio and Pharrell Williams, where deception was a big part of the study because they doctored these tweets. After the respondents read the tweets, they rated their risk of awareness, their perceived response efficacy, attitudes and behavior towards climate change mitigation, and things like that. And on the side here, you can see an example of the tweet that they shared. At the end of the study, the participants were then debriefed and told about the deception that was used in the study. As for the measures, overall there were 9, and they were all measured on a 7-point Likert scale, or most were measured on a 7-point Likert scale. Some were measured on a 3-point, but overall they measured risk awareness, perceived response efficacy, measures of attitude, behaviors, beliefs, knowledge of climate change, their background characteristics such as ideology, and lastly, emotional manipulation checks, which is where they tested for the fear and the hope within these tweets. As for the dependent variable, those consisted of attitude, governmental support, sustainable behavior, as well as participation in activism. And for the independent variables being the tweets that they manipulate for the surveys. Here, I will be discussing the results. The participants who received fear-framed messages reported perceiving the message as more fearful than those who received hope-framed messages. This means that the manipulation of emotional framing was successful for fear, but not for hope. Here I will be discussing the limitations and strengths of this study. First being that the researchers had a pretty good sample size to work with. And they also made sure to have all the measures covered for the best accuracy that they could achieve. However, the limitations included that despite the sample size, the students were all from the same university, which makes it difficult and limited the study's results generalizability. To overcome these limitations, perhaps future studies should include maybe older populations and need to consider different celebrity messages so that they can increase the generalizability since they only used a few. Today, I've shown you a research study that relates to my research question really well, and it hits all the points of reference in regards to celebrity advocacy and how it shapes the public narrative and how it can shape the public narrative. Because the article discusses the emotions involved behind what makes celebrities' words effective to the public, it relates directly to my team's research question and will be a great point of reference so that I can further discuss how celebrities continue to change the public narrative. Thank you so much for listening, and I really hope you were able to learn something today.